Greetings, everyone. It's Wrestler, and welcome back to Ostriv. In your last year, spring had just broken after winter had been here, and so now we're in spring as the snow has receded, and it looks like plowing has been skipped, of course, because we don't have a plow. So it looks like the fields are about to be sowed. So the farmers are now going to get to work and see who lives there yet. Nothing is ordered. I want to order a plow, but I don't think I can. And I can't remember what it said. Why I couldn't order a plow. What was the reason I couldn't order a plow again? Oh, back to the carpenter. It told me why. There's a reason I couldn't plow, and I can't remember the reason why I couldn't plow. Maybe it doesn't matter. Ordered. Carpenter has one more order in the queue. And plow. So, can you plow? Maybe you can plow. Oh, we didn't have ox. Yeah, we don't have ox. Oh, wait. What if we enable it? So it goes away? Do we have ox? I mean, you know what? We're not going to supply for the oxen. That's fine. Yet, because then when we have the plow. When we have the plow, that's a different matter entirely, because he's going to go get the stuff to make. See if we have anything here that's waiting to be made. I think we're okay, actually. No buildings are really in the thing. No one's at the market, so nothing to sell. And so the town hall has disappeared. It was right around here. And there's this. So, let's see. We're going to build a second warehouse, I think. How many nails do we have? 134. And this guy's smithing nails now. So, let's see. I'm going to take a look at virtual warehouse. 98 nails. So we have enough nails, although I wanted to make a granary, but let's see. It requires a lot more nails. We got 134. I think I said in the last video that we're going to prioritize the granary, so we're going to hold off on the warehouse right now. And why they haven't finished, why do we don't have any food? I think that is in storage, that needs to be put in storage. I think we're going to probably have food eventually, and then we'll put the potatoes that we're growing in here, which, my goodness gracious, there are not a lot of people working there. Oh, so there are less laborers needed now, I suppose. Yeah, let's add another. Actually, let's not add another person to work in here. I think we're hiring them nothing but women, right? Yeah, exactly. We have one woman that's unemployed, though, but did she become a counselor? Like, I was... Not yet. Okay, well, we have this house here for people. So, I don't know if people come, or if you have to build something, or... I'm not sure how to... I don't think you have to do anything, particularly. I don't think you have to have a town hall to have migration. You just probably have to have open houses and open jobs, which we have plenty of those. So, got this building built here. That's good. Wow, they're really sowing. Yeah, so they're they're getting close to halfway sowing done, and it's not even the middle of March, so they got plenty of time before they need to finish. Not a farmer by any means, but have grown things in the past in my small little garden, and from what I know, from what I have looked up when I planted my own things and such, And I actually have grown potatoes. You want to plant, we probably want them, if this is just kind of a normal 4 seasons look, which I do not live in that type of climate, you probably want to get finished planting by the end of March, or at least by the middle of April. And so that way by summer you can, that way by at least the end of summer you can start harvesting. I myself had my potatoes planted before by the end of March, before the end of March, probably about the week before spring break. I had them all planted and ready to go, and then come summer I had some amazing potatoes. So now I'm assuming that this game is probably going to follow the same route. I can't think that they would go with some sort of unrealistic growth season where you can get 100 potatoes every month. So yeah, spring growth, wait from the ripen and then harvest. And the thing about potatoes is, I don't know if this game is going to do it. If you do not do very much with potatoes, if you just kind of leave them there and don't really, remove them properly, they will go to seed and they will keep growing. And that's what happened with me with my potatoes. They went to seed and kept going, and because I didn't properly take them all out completely. So, are you just still gathering resources? I know you're going to work. Okay. How's the nail smithing going, buddy? Okay. He's making progress. And so we're gonna have enough nails for the granary soon. That's good. I'm trying to decide where to build that. I want to kind of build it around this warehouse, where this warehouse is, kind of in the middle of town. Problem is that this is in the way. See, I want to build a warehouse so I can get rid of this, but at the same time, well, you know what? If they're sowing, you know what? Sorry, I'm going to make a change. We're going to build a warehouse first, and then we'll build a granary, because they're not going to grow yet. So we're going to build another warehouse right next door to its friend, right there, and we'll have workers do that. So how's the counselor job going? Still not anybody. So you notice that the construction workers, there's an hourglass because they want to hire another one. But the fact of the matter is we have somebody doing that. So one of the guys who would be working is actually carpentering. He's actually doing carpenter work. So yeah, so he's not going to be doing that. But it's okay, because the warehouse doesn't take a lot. I mean, it takes a little bit of the nails and wood, but it doesn't take clay or anything. So they just need to go get wood, and there's enough wood right here actually for the entire construction. They're probably going to head over there to take a look at the reforestation area. So all the trees are growing there. And you may notice on this, I played around last time I casted with allowing chopping trees, not allowing, and it had been checked by default, and they were chopping them down, so I figured it's probably okay. It's probably this thing of, they probably have that click by default so that you don't have to worry about watching those trees, and once they're mature, your foresters will cut them down, so you don't have to worry about being like, oh, I need to enable this because they're really getting out of hand. So, that's just something to think about. Anyways, sorry about not being too on top of casting the last couple of days. Life happens and such, and but I will get back to it. So as things are looking up, later on this month, I think I mentioned this before, I will be taking a slight holiday possibly. But during that time, or before that time, I plan to get a bunch of casts ready to go, and have them releasing daily via scheduling method. So that way, while I'm gone, it's not like the channel will just go silent. There'll still be things coming out. How long that holiday is to be a week, 10 days, possibly 2 weeks, but regardless of how long it is, there will always be content. But I'll keep you up to date on that. Holiday might not happen, might happen anyways. If the holiday doesn't happen, me going out of town, might take one myself. But we'll see. We will see what that looks like as we continue. Also, wanted to mention something that I haven't mentioned. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy during this quarantine time and this whole virus. And if you're not healthy, I'm sorry. I hope you're staying healthy. I hope your family's staying healthy. And I hope that while you're stuck inside and bored or whatever, that these casts at least provide you a little bit of entertainment, whether or not it's something to drone out the boring, or if you actually enjoy watching them, and therefore you're not bored. So, anyways, this is how I keep myself occupied during the quarantine. So that's something to think about as we continue. Let's see here. They got the warehouse going on. I know I keep talking about this whole migration, if anybody's going to come here, because I'm really curious, because I've seen a couple, not very many, but some people play this, and it seems like, according to those, all you have to do is build a house, and people show up. Now, I don't know how early of a build they were playing. Maybe a trade post is necessary so people actually know that you exist. So a trading post is definitely something to put on the board after the granary. But until that happens, I think they have all the nails there. Yeah, they got everything. So where's the are you resting? Now you're supplying resources. Oh, charcoal. Right. Okay. So taking it from the other pile. Well, that's fine. Empty one pile. Anyways, what I was going back to what I was saying. I think if you need a trading post, that will be, that's not anytime soon, but that will be coming. But I'm hoping all you need is houses, because a trading post requires a lot of resources and another worker. And the problem is, and I don't know if you can hire just men for that, which is a slight drawback of this game when it kind of does gender bias on the hiring. But then again, this is 1722, so it's not exactly all that crazy to think about that being a thing. But it does make things somewhat difficult if you don't have enough. Oh, the warehouse is done. If you don't have enough workers. So let's get rid of you and put you over here. Yeah, so now in here we're going to put all the iron. How much iron do we have? 408. Okay, well let's put... Actually, let's put exactly 408. I don't know if I'm sitting there looking for more iron yet. We'll put charcoal. Should we put charcoal in? What do we have in the other one? We got thatch, firewood, wood, and nail. So in here we'll put bark in here. How much bark do we have in the forestry? I know we have way more than what we need. 2,000 is the limit. Yeah, well, 2,000 is the limit. How much do we have though? 4,500. Okay, so let's put 4,000 bark in here. And then let's put charcoal, and we have tons of charcoal. So let's see, we got 2,000 charcoal there, 8,000 charcoal there. Let's not put all the charcoal in here, but let's put 5,000 charcoal. And then, yeah, and then we're also going to put, what else can we put in here? No, let's not put reeds in here. You know what? Let's just leave it at that for now. So, let's see here. How many nails do we got? We got 66 nails with another 10 there. Well's working well. How you doing over here with the thatch? Goodness gracious. Massively efficient. It's incredible. Let's up it to 5,000. So it looks like the sowing is done. sowing is complete, right? I'd assume so. If it isn't, that means there's one plant. So now comes the growth time, which it's starting to fill up. So wow, they finished by the middle of March. Well, I mean, it's not exactly like there were other things that they had pressing on the agenda. It's like, well, can't do any other jobs. Let's just plant everything. So the thing is, we have, with as many as the jobs are male dominated, we have plenty of women doing work in the village. We have women doing that were bringing firewood for charcoal burning. We have a woman running the factory. We have women running the farm. We have women working with the warehouses doing transport. So as much as I complain about, it's sexist, I wish that women could be hired more and such. Even though, but I mean, they're gonna be wrong. I'm not saying that the developer is wrong or the maker is wrong. I understand. As much as I say culture, I'm nothing against this culture. It might be a cultural thing, but also you look at the time of the game. This is 1722, so back in those days, women were relegated to certain roles, and a lot of the roles were shopping at the market, cooking, and looking after the kids and the house. While men went out and did most of the jobs, most of the hard labor jobs, or soldiering or stuff like that. So what I have the women doing here, transporting goods in the warehouse, doing farming work, making thatch, that actually would be, I think, for the most part, somewhat of an accurate representation of what women might be doing, looking after the family farm. Many times when it came to farming, it was a family affair. The men and the women and the children all worked side by side, and they had laborers that worked there as well. Slaves, was part of the beginning of that. So there was a lot of, work like that going on by families. So I think I don't think it's as much culture as it is time period. In the 1700s. So it might be a mix of both. But I think, if you look at but I think it probably is a mix of both, but I think it's probably more based on the time period. If anything, it's probably about a 70-30 or maybe even an 80-20, 80% time period, 20% cultural thing. And at the same time, it's not, I don't want to say it's too accurate. That will get me a lot of people going, are you saying women can't do things? But when you're talking about chopping down trees and two people carrying a massive tree back to the thing, to be honest, that's two men doing that, and I only have two people working in the forest. Trust me, if I could hire both for all across the entire board, I'd be checking all the boxes. But the reason that I'm checking certain boxes for certain things is I need the men building things or doing other jobs. So that's why I'm kind of restricting women to certain jobs, because I need the men to be on either carpentry or construction. What is this person doing? So are you even making the plow, or is that just not going to be a thing? Anyways, this is where you can add a field here, and I'm thinking about doing that because the fact that they finished it so quickly, and I think I'm going to put it right here actually. I'm going to do this, and this, not as big as the potato field by any means, and then we'll plant this, and I think, what does it want? Field is not activated. I think we're going to go with, let's do sunflower, because sunflower seeds. Let's do wheat, and let's activate that field, and plowing is skipped. So now we're going to have people sowing it, and so sowing is going to take place very momentarily, I guess. Now this might be foolish, they might not have enough time, but I think there should be enough time. That field looks really inaccurately done. But they're not, I mean, they're not doing anything right now, so I figure, okay, we might as well give them another chop. In fact, you know what, let's see it. You know what, yeah, this is where the OCD comes. Let's demolish that field. I can't deactivate it. Okay, well, never mind then. I guess we'll just sow, you know. So, anyways, got this guy. It looks like they're getting most of the iron in there. Slowly but yet surely. Got 308 removed there. Because see, I might be able to put the granary here, which is like the exact center of town. The only problem is there's a market stall right here, which I could remove actually. And there's a chapel right there, and the granary is somewhat large. It's as you can see, it's kind of big. So putting it right here might not be a possibility. I could put it right here actually. That's the center of town. Yeah, I'm going to place it, and then I'm going to pause it, because I don't want to build it yet. We need more nails, and we don't have more nails currently. So, anyways. So yeah, they're sowing, yeah, so this one's growing, and they're sowing this field just, yeah, they're going pretty far along. So, anyways, that's where we're at now with this town. So we got the go-to farm. So apparently, since there's a go-to farm, but I'm assuming you could probably just get your fields going crazy out there or something like that. But that hasn't happened yet. House is still vacant. There's still no counselor. I'm guessing there's probably some sort of thing you can do. Also, I should probably take a look at our economy. How are we doing in terms of money? So we got the monthly wage, laborer's wage, and then the village house rent. So I think we're probably still going down in money. So to speak. So yeah. So it looks like it's minus about 100 a year. And yeah. I think what's going to happen is the more people you get, you probably make more money if you have tons of people paying rent. Even if they all have jobs, if you have enough people paying rent, it won't matter. So, and not everyone's going to have work. So, I'm not sure if you pay your construction workers when they're doing nothing. That's probably not a mechanic that is implemented yet, if ever. There are some games where your people, I'm not sure if it's get angry. They go discontent if they don't have work to do because they don't get paid when they're not working, and so you have to have jobs repeatedly for them to do. But a lot of the singular games haven't gotten to that point yet. Because a lot of the games are like Ostriv or like Banished or like Surviving Mars, where it's basically just kind of like, you're there with what resources you could bring or can order from, like in Surviving Mars, you send shuttles back. But people are coming there out of their own will, so they, when they are banished, these people probably knew whatever they were doing, got them banished. And there's a mod that makes a colonial charter where you actually are giving a charter by a colonial power, and then there's other mechanics. Doesn't overhaul the game too much. Makes the music and adds a bunch of different buildings and such, but doesn't change the core gameplay mechanics too much. But the point I'm making is that, the point I'm making is that in those games, people don't get angry if there isn't enough work for them because they're just happy to be there. So usually they don't go discontent if there's nothing to do. In fact, they're probably enjoying it because in order to survive, they've been working all the time. it's been non-stop. When I started this game, I plotted out 9 houses and didn't, and and I had, and I paused, all of them, but then when it came to unpausing them, I unpaused, as soon as one house was finished, I unpaused the next one. So the construction workers were never not busy. They had jobs day in and day out. They had to work every single day. And they were building constantly. So it was just a non-stop, all go, no quit building things. So that's the thing, so when there's no jobs or no building jobs to do, paid or not, they're probably thinking this is great, so anyways, that's all. Let's see here, we got wheat growing and the potatoes are growing. So we got, gosh, you know what? I'm just going to be crazy. I'm going to add yet another field. I know this is insane, but, why not? Let's do sunflowers. Activate field. Okay, here we go. So it's got to grow a bunch of things now. We already got the trees growing. Why not just keep planting like crazy people? So this person is working, but what exactly is that you're doing? Because I see one order in the queue, the plow, but are you even built the plow? Because we have the plow in order, but it seems like there's no plow being built. Because the cart, we saw, what he needed for it and such. So I think a plow might be something. You know what? We're going to cancel the plow for now. So you have no job to do. So maybe I should fire that person. Or deactivate that building for now. Until we get another worker. I'm not going to. Getting the carpenter was hard enough. We're going to just keep him in his position. And trust that eventually we'll be able to do everything. So I wonder, though, try one more thing. Do that. Supply for oxen. And now will you build it? No. Okay. Never mind then. Don't supply for oxen. Don't make that. The oxen supply is a water thing, but I think we actually need oxen, and hence why you need a trading post to buy said oxen. And possibly a effect of that may be migration, or migration happens before then. Whatever way it happens, I'm not concerned about. I'm just concerned that it happens, because we need more people. And why, yes, they're having children and such, and that's all fine and dandy. Hello, person. It's impossible to possibly know what that. I really would like to know if, do you have to zoom in, or will it actually tell you if your villagers are pregnant? Because for example, in Life is Feudal, which is also a great game, it would tell you like someone is expecting a baby, and so it was great. In that regard, but the question that I had was, for this game, was, will it tell you if there's a house expecting a child? So if you click on a house, will it show a little something like this, and it's empty because there's a baby on the way? Or does it not tell you anything, And because I remember somebody wrote a review for this game when it was first kind of showing up, and they said, my such and such is pregnant. And I don't know if that was a mechanic at the time, or if he was joking, or if he zoomed in. I mean, if you zoom in on your villagers, can you see any distinguishing features like a baby bump? And the answer is not really, actually. They all kind of look the same, and they're dressed in those flowing dresses, those things that kind of would hide anything like that. So I don't know if it tells you if they're pregnant, or because Nadia was just born. So when did that happen? You're visiting the chapel. And they've been here. Well, they haven't been here a year yet. Well, actually, they have been here 1 year. So I don't know if Nadia was born when they got here. They were born after they got here, or they carried her. I think she's gonna be 2 any day now. But that is something to think about. Let's take a look, see if we can find any babies that were obviously born a couple after they got here. There's another 1 year old. I'm looking for months old though. Doesn't look like it. So I'm guessing that these 1 year old children were born when we got here, and they're going to be 2 any day now. However, if we get on to, well, actually, this game starts in March, and we're partway into April now. So I'm guessing these children were born after. I guess we'll just keep an eye. If we're getting on into May, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. If we're getting on into May, though, and they're turning 2, I'm going to be going, okay, well, if they're 2 in May, then obviously they were born after we got here. Well, actually, no, wait, they're 1. So when do they turn 1? Because if they turned 1, back in February or January, then they were obviously born before we got here. But if they just turned 1, so, anyways, not important. What is important is we have someone, let's see which house they're in, that is 13 years old. So I guess the question I have is, this young girl who's 13, who's playing around right now, at what age can we put her to work? Are we talking when you hit 15 you start working? Obviously it's not the same as Banish. At Banish at age 7 they start working, which I think is very strange. When you have 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds living together in a house. I mean, I understand marriage was something that was different back in the day, but 8 and 9-year-old, I'm not sure if we ever got to that. You might possibly betrothed at that point, or arranged by your parents, but I don't know if you're living in the same house. But without your parents, mind you. It is very funny in Banish when you see an 8-year-old living on his own in a house, and his parents are across the way on in another part of the village, and you're just thinking and he's a farmer or something, and you're okay, farmer I can see, but let's be honest here, you're 8, first off, so I don't know how you're managing that by yourself, and you're living on your own. So, your parents must have really been, when you were born, it must have been a Hannah, situation, if you've ever seen the movie or series Hannah. It's about this girl who's raised in the woods by her father, and by, age 16 can, beat the crap out of, armed soldiers and speak, 5 languages. And is massively self-sufficient and has a lot of psychological issues. Anyways, that series is just kind of crazy. The movie was also crazy too. The movie had the girl much younger. The series she was I think 15. In the movie she was 10. So, anyways, not important. So the point is, I always thought in Banish, is this a Hannah situation where you're raised in a normal socialized situation, but did your parents from age 2 start training you start teaching you how to live on your own? Because at age 8, you're already living on your own. You have your own damn job. That is great. I mean, good job, but it might be a little bit. I don't know. That's why building a schoolhouse in Banish kind of breaks that whole, breaks that whole kind of crazy weird thing, because then they go to school and I think they get their own place at 13 or 15, and it's okay, now you're 13 is still a little bit pushing, but 15 okay, and you're in a village, and you need workers, and I think that's why it does it at that age, but it's a little bit strange. it's getting on to the middle of April now. I know you're sitting here going, why don't you speed time up? And I've said before, I will speed time up once we get things more settled here. And so it's not that it's never going to happen. It's like I keep saying, once things get settled, things are never going to be settled. And hopefully that's not the case. It's more of a matter of, I just want to make sure I'm doing things right. Limestone deposit. You can probably mine those if you have a limestone place. Mine, etc. So anyways, that's something else to look at entirely. So they've sowed all the sunflowers. So wheat is growing, potatoes are growing. Everything is growing. Everything is awesome also when you're part of a team. So let's see here. 164 nails. We got 116 in storage. Oh, the little thing is gone. Excellent. So what I'm going to do is, let's see here. I'm going to wait until we have enough nails and then start the greater reconstruction. Because I don't think the smith needs any motivation. I think he's fine. Also, a note to all of you. Some of you have asked, why haven't you played Hellblade again yet? Hellblade is coming. Part 2 will be coming. You have to understand, though, if you watch the Hellblade cast, that Hellblade is a bit, shall we say, psychologically taxing. Not that I'm weak psychologically or can't handle Hellblade. It's more born out of one. I don't want to delve too much into that game for long periods of time or frequently, because it is very, very eerie and such. If you got kind of some heebie-jeebies or some listening to it, imagine playing it. As much as the sound is, in the game, in the cast, when you're listening to it firsthand with your own headphones, I think it might be a bit louder, and it is a bit eerie. And especially when you hear the narration, and then she looks at you and says, "What did you say?" And you thought you were listening to her thoughts, and you weren't. And then you are listening to her thoughts, and so it goes back and forth in this thing, and so you're really trying to keep up with it. At the same time, you hear voices and all types of weird things going on. And so that's why I haven't played the second part of Hellblade yet. I will get to it before long, but as I said, it's going to be slow going. And so back to what I was saying, it's born out of the fact that it is a bit taxing, but also it's born out of concern for those of you who are watching. I don't know what state you're in, and I'm sure you're fine. And if you have, problems, that's, more power to you. I hope you're doing well. But at the same time, even if you don't, that game can, they had a mental health advice because that game affects people. And there is a mental health warning at the beginning of that game that says if you have mental or psychological problems, not to play the game. So it's, also born out of concern of those of you who are watching who are going, I can handle it, and all of a sudden you can't handle it, and I don't want to throw it up there so you can, sit there and watch one hit after another. I mean, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to binge watch it once all the parts are posted and really mess with your head. But if I can control the intake of that briefly, then I'm going to. So I never take the videos down. I never take the Hellblade videos down. In some sort of like, I know best for you, but I am going to be releasing them slower. So that's something. I'm also looking at adding a few new titles to the channel because I know we've been doing Ostriv and Universe Sim mostly. So I think I'm going to add Red Dead Redemption 2 and probably Divinity. Matt and Blade Banner 2 Bannerlord, which I also want to add to, is it's not coming yet because I still am not doing very well in that game, and I don't want to put out a product where I'm dying repeatedly or doing stupid things, and you're sitting there, screaming at me because you know how to play the game better than I do, because you probably do. And so I'm trying to get to a point in Matt and Blade Banner 2 Bannerlord where I know what I'm doing and therefore can do it, so to speak, if that makes any sense at all. So know what I'm doing and will do it, and can make it at least somewhat enjoyable. And I also want to get into the swing of things in that game, so that I'm not just so that even if I'm competent, I'm not just bumbling around. I'd like to be able to play that, and tell you, okay, I'm going here, and this is why it matters, and such in the game. So that's something to think about. So let's see here. I think we're going to get to the end of April, and then, well, I don't know. I mean, what is going on? So the nails are still at 126. So this Smith is not. So let's tell Smith is Smith. I'm not impressed. No counselor yet. No migration. Yeah, we're very much at a standstill at this point. So looks like the wheat's starting to grow. Either my eyes are playing tricks on me. Potatoes are coming along. Sunflowers are coming along. And I don't know if it actually augments growth speed, because there are some things that grow faster than other things in the world. Let's just get that out of the way right now. Lettuce, for example, I know I have lettuce here, and the lettuce is starting to show up, so to speak. Well, actually, not show up. It already has shown up. And the onions have been growing for a while now, and all the trees are starting to kind of blossom as we near the end of April. And some of you might think, well, it's the end of April, like, what are you trying to play at? I'm trying to play at the fact that I live in a state where it's rained for the past 3 days, and this is normal. And it even rains and we have something that we jokingly call January, because in June, for some odd reason, it gets colder. And when I say colder, I mean colder than usual for the summer months in the United States. In June, you're expecting, 70s, 80s, or if you live in a warmer climate, up in the 100s, And here it's in like in the low 60s, and there's rain coming down, and you're thinking, wait a minute, I thought we left this all behind back in March or April, But no, you didn't, apparently. Still happening. But here, the whole April showers bring May flowers. In this state, it's in April. In here, April showers bring May showers, and that probably gives you a sort of an idea of where I live, where it rains a lot. So, but anyways, I'm not going to delve deeper into that. And also, the weather here is changes all the time. So. Let's see here if we get this going on. So slow going, I know, but such is this game and the way it does things. So he's making metal parts too, because this place is taking all of them. And let's store metal parts. Value. Let's store metal parts here. Not all of them, just maybe 5. Oh, we can't store metal parts. Okay, well, just kidding. I can store metal parts. So, I wonder if we have to have food for sale for people to show up, because migration allowed, check. Water supply sufficient, check. Housing available, check. Jobs available, check. Notice buildings required at this point. And none of the food for sale is red. So I think I wonder if all those have to be checked off for anybody to show up, which might be the case. The problem is we can't sell food because we don't have food to sell. Everyone's got food in their house. But I wonder if we went here, let's see here, and we put potatoes as a thing that's going to be sold, and where is it? Can't apparently do it. Okay, and so whatever, and we put one worker here. Does that do that? Not enough food for sale. So so we don't have enough food being put for sale. Now I don't know if she's gonna get food, but we're going to stop that for now. None. And we're going to wait until we have a granary built and food is being grown, so to speak. So 164 now, we got 126. And maybe ripening is when, maybe about halfway through ripening or almost when ripening is done is when we might open the market back up. But when ripening begins, regardless if we have enough nails or not, that's when I'm going to start getting that granary built, because we need to get that thing up and running before the ripening commences. Well, not before the ripening commences, but before the harvesting commences, because if they start harvesting things and just dropping it on the ground or whatever, or leaving it out there because they can't bring it in anywhere, or bring it into their houses, and therefore people some people are getting more food and others aren't, or if people are just heading to the fields and helping themselves, that's great and everything, everyone's fed, but at the same time, then we're getting poor, and the village is declining. So, construction is paused, yes. 136 nails. Man, nails are slow going. I mean, love the smith, but he seems to really be taking his time. I mean, I know, you're going to shoot the game. It wouldn't be that case. That's true enough. And maybe I'll reassess speeding it up next time. Now that we have all the fields planted and everything. But at the same time, there is something to be said about somewhat just enjoying the peace and quiet of Ostriv, and kind of the way it goes, because you don't want to get spoiled on speeding things up, and then when you have to slow it down because of certain reasons, because things get out of hand, then all of a sudden you hate it. If you can appreciate the speed that it goes at, it's kind of like Sims. The Sims, when you're first playing it, you're just like, wow, and you don't speed it up at all, and you appreciate, just the speed they go at, and then you speed up certain things, so there's that, apart from just the automatic speed up that it does when they're sleeping or at work. So by the way, Ostriv is currently on the Steam store. I've mentioned this before, I know, but it is $24.99 right now. So I'd encourage you to jump in and grab it if you can. One, it would help support the guy who's making it and him and his team. And two, I'm guessing, like a lot of games that are in the state that it is, their whole early access thing. It's once it's released completely, and it has the 1.0 release because it's currently in alpha right now. So once it jumps into the full-on release and everything, and it comes out, completely 1.0. Most early access games that were, in the $20, $25 range, or even $15 at times, most of them, when they hit the 1.0, the price goes up dramatically. Not always to the full 60 or 50, but sometimes up to 30 or 40. I know Kerbal Space Program, for example, I got that very early on when it was about $15, and it was not anything to look at. In fact, I uninstalled it because it was almost basically unplayable. But and I was almost but as angry as I was the fact that it was unplayable, I was thinking, it's $15. So it's not that bad. And then 1.0 came out and it went up to like $40, but it's very playable now. It's a lot of fun. And before you even think, oh, you should cast that, it's been cast to death by people, and I'm not casting Kerbal Space Program. Because I'm not that great at it, and two, because I don't really play it all that much anymore. But such as being a gamer, you play in seasons and such. But there are those games you keep coming back to, and that's why before I cast Ostriv or Universe Sim or Hellblade, I hadn't played very much of Hellblade at all, but I'd always wanted to, so I figured I'd take you on that journey with me. But Ostriv I had known for a long time about. Universe Sim, I'd also been there at the very beginning, as a supporter with them as well. And I knew I really, really, really liked those games. So I knew I wanted to play those. And those are the games I kept coming back to. As much as there are seasons, there are always those constant games that always send you just out that you always play every now and then. And so like Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition is one of those mainstays on my desktop. I played Age of Empires since the first one, and all the expansions, and number 2 and number 3, and all their expansions as well. And and I even got number 2, and found out how to make it work on Windows 7 before the HD edition was even probably thought of. And when the HD edition came out, I was so, and what you had to do on Windows 7 is you had to open the game, and it looked really ugly, and you had to Alt-Tab out, and then into the Explorer. So you had to Alt-Tab, Control-Delete, in the Explorer task, Alt-Tab back in, play the game, exit, and then open up your task manager with Control-Delete and restart Explorer, which wasn't that bad. HD edition made it playable on newer machines, and I saw all these expansions coming out, so I got the Forgotten edition, which added the Slavs, the Magyars, and the Italians, and I saw the cons and all these things, and I was just like, I don't want to add all those. And then I got a coupon, or it was marked down because I had HD edition in the store for the definitive edition, which had a bunch of updated things, because I was kind of updating it with the mods on the workshop, but I didn't like some of what the mods did, so I was kind of installing a few of them. And then when definitive edition came out and kind of retextured it the way it was supposed to be and added all this stuff, and made it really cool, I jumped on it, and it's just a joy to play. The updates aren't, don't change the game, down to a point where it's no longer Age of Empires 2-y. It still is very much Age of Empires 2, and the mechanics, and it's just a joy to play. So that's enough of my fandom right there. I just happen to love that series. So that's one of my mainstays, along with Civilization 6, which, somebody said you should cast that. I'm thinking, you know how slow that game is? Casting Civilization 6 would be like watching a paint dry. That game is very much not one that you cast unless you're doing something crazy, which I'm not. So, and even if you're doing something crazy, I don't know how crazy you can get. Civilization 6 would be a thing to cast just if you were showing off a war or something like that that you were fighting. Basically the end game as the world ends with World War III, but it's fun to read stories about that rather than to watch it be cast, because those casts, are 2 hours long and you barely get anywhere, so to speak. So Civilization 6 is another mainstay on my desktop, along with Ostriv and Universe Sim, and yes, I do play The Sims. And I know people cast that, but I've never cast The Sims 4, because casting The Sims 4 means people who cast The Sims 4 are usually doing either something crazy or something homicidal. And as funny as that is to watch, that's not the way I play Sims 4. I play it the realism way, where you have people have careers, have families, etc. And that's not as fun it's fun to play, but not as fun to watch. Because it'd be like watching your neighbor across the street maybe live, just having a more deeper look. And as fun as that sounds, like, oh yeah, deeper look. That sounds fun until you're watching The Sims 4, in a cast than normal, and you're going, okay. Most of the Sims 4 casts I've seen are funny, in a way, shape, and form, and that's great. I love them. They're really funny to watch and really enjoyable to watch. So that's for those people and for us to watch, but that's not the way I play. Most of the Sims 4 casts you see are people playing in some, with excessively large families or something like that. So let's see here, 164. We're at 156. That's our unemployed woman, who counselor job for you. See here. So we got 156 nails. Is the smith even working? Is he? Oh, he was supplying resources. Okay. So once he gets, he's gonna be taking his rest, and then he'll probably smith more nails. So once he smiths nails, we'll probably get to building the granary. But that will be something that we will have to do later on. So thank you for watching. This has been Ostriv, and next time we come back, we'll build the granary, we'll get things going. But until next time, this is Wrestler, locking off.